Hello everyone, we are back again in another live stream on Nasdaq futures. Today I do have some problem with my internet connection, so I apologize for the inconvenience. Now I think the problem is solved and we are back here. We have around 7 minutes to the opening bell of new day, and I'm here highlighting the new day opening gap and new week opening gaps. Okay, apparently we still have some problem with our live stream. Okay, apparently today I am facing a little problem with the network connections, so let's see how I can manage with this. Right now I'm highlighting the new day opening gap for today's trading. And we have opened at this price over here, which creates our new day opening gap low. Okay, we get back to this price over here. I would like to do an analysis on daily chart so we understand where we are and how it's trading into. So far we see that we traded into the daily CB over here, and after that we had a kind of indecisive candle over here for yesterday's trading. We couldn't even trade to the consequent encouragement of yesterday's trading, and now today so far we were dropping down into this daily imbalance, which is the opening day gap for Friday trading of last week. Now we have to see if the market has already done its job to these prices or not, because in my opinion we already reached above this buy side swing high, and there is no enough power for the market to send the price higher, because the next one will be the high of this white candle, and if we are strong enough we can see if we trade into this CB and potentially the swing high over here in the buy side. But this is for our long-term trading, and from the daily perspective we are now trading close to this daily volume imbalance. Dropping into 15-minute charts, and we see yesterday, as I mentioned, my focus and my intention was trading into the sell side liquidity resting below the lows of Asian session. That is also coupled with the new day opening gap for Friday high, and we see we traded very nicely through it, and after that we closed below the new day opening gap, for Friday, we traded back above and reached to the new week opening gap for current week. So far we can see that the market has created and left these relative equal lows over here from last Friday's trading, and even yesterday we couldn't reach to those levels. This is the first target that might be possible for today. After that, I'm interested also to see these relative equal lows highs over here in the market price, because these are made in today, but the probability for me to reach to these relative equal highs are less than reaching towards this equal lows over here, as a fact that we had the trade above this the high of yesterday for today, and after that we started selling off. And you can see in the London session we have a very nice sell-off that continues in the New York open for pre-market, and at macro time for between 8:50 and 9:10 we did a very good run towards the sell side liquidity of yesterday's Asian session. So far in this chart, I would like to highlight this inefficiency over here as a form of 15-minute CB. And when we drop to the 5-minute charts, we can see this 15-minute CB is kind of confluenced with the 5-minute order breaker block. I apologize. And this one over here is our order breaker block in 5 minutes. So I'm expecting to see a kind of run higher from this point to this breaker block that is confluenced with the 15-minute CB, and then send the price lower. So far we see the market opened in discount, which means we have a gap higher, and we have to measure the price for sending the market for higher prices for this open range gap. Now we drop into the 1-minute chart. Sorry, this is 15-minute chart. And back to the 1-minute chart over here. We see we have opened. Yeah, and so far we are trading as I expected, going higher prices. If we want to do measurements from this open price, oops, to here, we see we just fell short of touching the midpoint of the open range gap, and we tapped into the 15-minute CB. Okay, so far we still didn't have any first presented fair value gap formed, and we tapped the consequent encroachment of the open range gap. That is the low of the breaker block in 5-minute charts. So I'm waiting for the market to kind of reach to the midpoint of this breaker block and from here I'm expecting a sell-off in the market, but let's see. I'm waiting also for first presented fair value gap to be formed. Okay, we touched the consequent encouragement of the 15-minute CB over here. So far, no consequent, no first presented fair value gap. All right. I'm interested in the reaction of the market from this 5-minute breaker block that is confluenced with 15-minute CB. Just trading inside the open range gap lower quadrant. We have an important news releasing at 10 p.m. 10 a.m. New York local time. That is job openings, and we are waiting for market to do its damage in the opening range, that is between 9:30 to 10 a.m. So no rush to get into any positions for today. I forgot to mention that this is my point of interest for today's trading, the sell side liquidity. Still no formation of first presented fair value gap, and we are trading right above the opening price. The reaction of the market from yesterday's Asian session at this point over here is quite interesting to me, because we did a lot of wrong going to the midpoint between this high to this low. If you look, we traded to the midpoint of that range that is almost near to this 5-minute breaker block, and then started dropping from that point. This is the reason I'm saying for today's session I'm expecting lower prices to reach at 19,257 and a quarter. It's 9:38 and still we don't have any first presented fair value gap form for today's trading. We traded below the opening price at 9:30 and we are now inside this breaker block, bullish breaker block for short term. Let's see if price is trying to reach here and then have a reaction to go visit the upside. We see a kind of reaction from the market at this point, trading into the opening price at 9:30. Once again tapped into the 15-minute CB. This has the potential for creating the first presented fair value above today. We are still waiting for the first presented fair value and the news released at 10 o'clock. Okay, apparently we have this inefficiency over here as our first presented fair value gap. I'm just highlighting this, and yes, I'm expecting to see around from here to higher prices above this swing high. And and stop is placed below the candle created the first presented fair value gap. Touching the high of the fair value gap and rejecting but not filling our position because okay, we are a little lower than the high of the first presented fair value gap of today. Okay, now we got filled in this position, waiting for the market to start going higher. Okay, in less than 1 minute we hit our TP over here and we exited from the position. The reason for placing my TP over here is, first of all, there is a swing high over here, then there is the midpoint of the 5-minute breaker and the low of the new day opening gap for today. You can see within 2 minutes only, less than 2 minutes, I got into the position and got out. That is how sweet you can earn 800 per contract. Very good so far. Now we are trading into the new day opening gap for today. Now we touch the high of the opening range gap between 9:30 and 10, and we are trading above. So far we are going higher prices. Let's see if the market is trying to reach to this swing high over here that is created at 846. This is not my intention to go long, but since my strategy and my plan was telling me whatever type of the first presented fair value gap is, I need to follow that, and that's what the reason I put a buy limit at the top of the first presented fair value gap, set my TP and my stop loss, and that's it. I just needed to wait for the market to trade there, and you can see within very few seconds the market rejected to go lower, and almost the drawdown on this trade was very few. I don't exactly know how much was the drawdown. If we look here, I got filled at 435 and a quarter, and the low of the candle is 33. which means two handles of drawdown in a trade. That is perfect. That is perfect. And we can see the market has already traded to reach the low of the first presented fair value gap of yesterday. Let's see if it has the ability to reach the low of the new week opening gap for current week. That is also the midpoint of this CB over here. I'm highlighting this CB over here for more study. I apologize. I think we just tapped into the fair value gap that I highlighted over here. And let's see. I don't need to see this midpoint. We traded to the low of the new week opening gap. Let's measure from this candle over here to the price at this. We already have something like 786 handles. That is quite considerable amount of profits. But since my strategy is telling me to get out of the position at 40 handles and a half, that half is to cover the commissions and fees. I needed to follow my strategy. I'm just studying the rest of the price and how sharp it's going. And it's also very not encouraged for new traders to open a position before the news release at 10 o'clock for today. You can see now we are in the macro time window between 9:50 and 10:10, and this candle suddenly had a very big jump to opening price of the yesterday's at 9:30. Okay, so far we are still trading below the new week opening gap. I wanted to do a kind of review and a kind of very short lectures for market and the element of the market and how to prepare yourself for reading price action, because recently my girlfriend is joining me for trading and she's always supporting me for live streams and all the things, and now she's interested in learning trading, so she's asking me some questions, even though there are a lot of resources online and I introduced the channel of ICT to her, but apparently there are some concepts for new traders that are kind of unknown and difficult. So I decided to have a little short reviews and short introductions for very basic elements in trading, like what is the swing highs, swing lows, liquidity pools, and these things. So I'm expecting myself to create this type of videos and upload on the channel. And I appreciate your support if you like this type of content. I was watching the reaction of the market to this week over here, and its consequent encouragement at 50% level of Fibonacci. This one, you can see after touching the lower quadrant, it didn't try to reach higher quadrant, higher on the midpoint of this week. So this is point of interest also for me. But so far, let's see what happens in the market. After touching the first presented fair value gap of yesterday, we can see the market couldn't close anybody above the consequent encouragement of that and started going lower. And in my opinion, that's because this area of the price is congestion of the price on higher time frames. If you look at the 15 minutes on the top left chart, you can see we do have a CD over here that is almost sitting on the new week opening gap for current week, and it is very interesting to see this is happening around the range of the new week opening gap exactly. So it has a lot of power in here. We do have also this breaker block in the 15-minute chart, high, low, higher high, has purged a buy side liquidity above these two highs. And these are the reasons I'm not expecting to see price going higher, because in this area over here you have a lot of back and forth and the market is kind of balanced around these prices. But what we don't have any balance in the market is lower prices, specifically the sell side liquidity of yesterday's or the low of the yesterday's trading, that is right above the new week opening gap of 14th of April. This is new week opening gap. Okay, I apologize for this typo. And we have another typo. Let's see. Alright. It's a kind of reaction from 1 minute chart from this first presented fair value gap and the CDI highlighted in green over here. That is the difference between this candlestick's low and this white candlestick's high. After this, so far we see a little consolidation in the price, which is normal because in less than 4 minutes we do have a high impact news, and it is quite normal for this time of the day to have this type of reactions. Notice that we already purged and cleared the buy side liquidity in 1 minute chart. Well, you know, we do have a lot of levels over here, and it's a little ball in my eyes for analysis. This is from Friday PM session. And okay, we can keep this level over here for later. I will need this. We have around 2 minutes to the news release at 10 o'clock. And so far, from opening price, we see we traded high and then we went lower to go below this swing low point over here, and after that we had a big one to go for the buy side liquidity over here. What we have left behind is the sell side of pre-market over here, and from the higher time perspective we have this swing low over here that is above the new week opening gap. This is my interesting point for today's morning session trading. I'm not expecting to see higher prices in the market so far, but it is possible for the market to trade higher, and we are not fighting it, that we're just here to get some insight and learn how to trade, how to read the price action, not to be profitable, because profitability is coming by consistency in the market. So far I'm watching this week over here and how it is going to trade. We tap into the lower quadrant of the week. Okay. Note that we couldn't go above the midpoint or consequent encouragement of this week on the 1 minute chart at 9:50. Here we have the news released. The amount of volatility coming into the market is kind of crazy. This is the reason I was saying we should stay away from the market before releasing, and this run going higher is just priming the market for smart money to get into position for going lower, and we can see that the candle of the news is sending the price lower. If I want to measure this candle, we have a run lower around 4400, around 4500. That is quite good. The chart is quite busy now. This looks better. Okay, for today, for now, I'm feeling this is okay to bring this back. Notice that we traded into the midpoint of this 15-minute CB, and after that we traded higher. Just consider this and keep it in your mind. And yeah, once again tapping into the first presented fair value gap of yesterday and trading into the midpoint of this week at 9:50. On the ES, I don't see a higher high than this high over here, as we do have higher high. So in the ES, it shows a little weakness to pass this relative equal highs and trade higher. So let's see if this can be considered as an SMT divergence or no for sending the price lower. Still, we don't see any higher prices trading in the S&P market. So far, S&P doesn't show any interest for going higher, and it's just kind of indecisive candles forming. We tapped into the opening price of yesterday's trading range. I'm preparing a little bit information for my trading journal. 76 here. Okay, now we traded above this relative equal highs in the S&P market, but still we didn't go above these candles at 950. We traded higher right now. Okay, very nice. There is a CB formed in London's trading for today in 15-minute chart, and I'm just highlighting it. Note that we traded into the consequent encouragement of that in 1-minute chart and just a little bit above that. Let's see how this market is and these candles are closing. Well, we closed above the 15-minute short and 1 minute short, but I don't see any closure in 5 minute or 15 minute charts. So far we cannot say this became as an inversion for rally gap. We are trading on the upper portion of the 15 minute fair value gap. If we want to go back to the time, we have a very nice reaction from this BC formed over here. In the 1 minute chart, I'm just highlighting. We see if we were getting into that, we had around 19 handles of drawdown, but after that, immediately in the next candle at 10:01, we have a run higher. Now I'm expecting to see a little retracement in the market and trying reaching to this new week opening gap high at 19,554. This gives us around 20 handles one for going short. But I'm just studying this and not expecting to do another trade, because so far on the 5 minute chart we can see we closed below the 15-minute CB. So in this case we are respecting the CB. Now we are trading in lower prices after purging this buy side liquidity above these candles and these candles high. We are now returning to see kind of retracement to the new week opening gap high, which is my interest. We can trade a little bit above. Okay, now we traded into the new week opening gap, as I said. Was expected. Now I'm expecting here the market creates another sort of fair value gap from CB, which means that this current candle should not come up and touch the low of this candle that I'm highlighting right now. So here we do have an inefficiency. The market comes to this inefficiency and tries to go lower. The first objective could be the low of the new week opening gap, that is also below the midpoint for yesterday's first presented fair value gap. Now I am expecting a return to this fair value gap over here, and after that run lower. Okay, now we traded into that CB. Let's see how it is reacting. Touching the low of the 15-minute fair value gap once again. Okay, we still in the 15-minute chart, we can see we closed below the 15-minute CB. That is a sign that we are not very willing to trade higher. Even in the 5-minute chart, we have the second candle closed below this 15-minute inefficiency. Within the next two candles, I'm expecting to see a run lower, because in my opinion, they already did their damage and their work for this 15-minute fair value gap, and I'm expecting to see a kind of run lower from here. Very nice, we can see it happened. It's going just as a matter of journaling. I'm writing this. Okay, apparently this doesn't work. We traded once again to the low of the 15-minute fair value gap and rejected to go higher. So far, let's see what we'll have over here. I'm still interested in lower prices. I might be wrong, I might be correct, but let's see. Sorry for this typo. You can see in the regular trading hours we have traded above this high of yesterday's trading, and we left the sell side liquidity over here, so that's still keeping my idea of trading active for seeing bigger runs for lower prices. You can see after the time I said I expect this big red candle they formed in the market, and the market is slowly trying reaching, going lower and lower. Right now we are trying to reach the high of the opening range gap for today's trading. In my opinion, this price side, this BC over here must be acted as an inversion fair value gap. once it trades into this. I'm expecting to send the price lower over here. We traded to the consequent encouragement of that, and we fill the gap. We just failed to touch the high and low of the current new week opening gap, and once again we are trading into the inversion BC I was mentioning. Now I'm expecting a good run lower and send the price below these new day opening gaps for today, and ideally this string low over here at the candle of 10 o'clock. Look at the bodies of the candles respecting the inversion fair value gap. It is correct that it closed a little bit above the high of the inefficiency, but the very next candle opened inside, and this doesn't invalidate the act of inversion fair value gap to me so far. We are trying to reach the high of the open range gap. This high is placed above the new week opening gaps that are acting as a magnet for price to gravitate towards from up and down when the market is. We traded to the high of today's new day opening gap, and as I was explaining you before, we reached to the high of opening range gap, and today is opening new day opening up. Now my focus is below this swing low over here at the candle of 10 o'clock news time. I would like to also measure this wick over here in order to see how it's acting. Yeah, you can see the midpoint of the wick is exactly below the new day opening gap that is traded right now. Beautiful delivery. If we measure from the low of this inversion fair value gap so far till the low of this candle, we are in profit for 37 and 25 handles. That is very good, very nice. And we have a kind of reaction from the consequent encouragement of this week. Let me highlight this. It was somewhere around here. I measure that here. $77.5. You can see the reaction of the market from this consequent encouragement that sent the price higher. We tapped into the yesterday's first presented fair value gap. This one itself can be a position for a lot of people, for you, aiming the low of the new day opening gap and getting 32 handles, or the high of the opening gap, new day opening gap for 25 handles. And these are going to be very nice price deliveries that are completely algorithmic. Once again, we tapped into the inversion fair value gap here, and it's trying to go lower. Now I'm watching the low of the new week opening up for this week. To trade it into that, we are passing through it. Alright, let's have a overview from higher time frames. You can see from this 15-minute CB, the market has a very nice reaction going lower to the high of the opening range gap. Market rejected. We can see from the consequent encouragement of this week of the news, we had a very nice reaction for sending price higher. And we touched the high of the new week opening up. Now I'm looking to see if it has the ability to reach to the 15-minute CB. We tapped into the low of the 15-minute CB. I'm waiting for the market to show a little interest for sending price low, because in my opinion they are already very premium price. But if I want to do kind of study, I would like to study and measure the first and the low. This okay. We have this high to this low as measured. I'm just putting projections level. Now 19,617 on a quarter is my next objective in price to look. Okay, so far we are still remaining into the 15-minute CB. We are only trading in the lower half of that. I will be here I think around 3-4 minutes more, and after that I have to go to do some personal stops. I like to see the reaction of the market from this point, from this BC forming over here, and not expecting so much to reach to this one over here. We have another reaction from this area of the price, and let's see if this new week opening up high can have the ability to support the price and send it higher for 1670 level. Okay, apparently no. This is the very sweet point of studying times from higher time frames and dropping lower time frames. You can see how the market is respecting to higher time frame PDRs, and you can see here we tapped into the fair value gap several times. After that we sell off very nicely. We traded high and reached to this area again, tried 3-4 times, and after that with a very nice reaction we are dropping down. This itself can be another model for beginners around 35 handles. The body of this candle is closing around the midpoint of this CB formed over here. And yeah, now trading again to the high of new week opening gap. Within this candle or the very next two candles, I'm expecting to see a run lower. I apologize, around higher, since the bodies are respecting to the midpoint of this CB formed here, BC formed here, and yeah, I think I need to stop the live stream right here, and I will review the market later. So for today, we had a very nice run from the first presented fair value gap, and we got our target within less than 1 minute. That's how the market is trading. So till talk to you next time. Take care and stay safe.